energy. I have been doing some work. You know how we talk about self-reflection? If you haven't listened, listen to the past episode on reflections and post-worry and pre-worries. But I've been doing a lot of self-reflection lately, and I've been hearing a lot about masculine and feminine energy. Have you ladies heard about that?
I have heard about that.
Mm-hmm. And
in what I hear though is masculine actually is they don't say very kind things about masculine energy, and I don't think that's correct, because I think you do need a bit of masculine energy.
Absolutely. It's not, I'm not putting, so I want to put an asterisk. I am not putting either one down. It is about finding the right balance to have both within your life. And
okay, well, why don't you define masculine and feminine energy?
I don't even know if my definition is correct. This is my thought process. I did some writing. So we're going to talk about, I did some journaling on it.
No, not you, Michelle.
Not me. I'm going to share it with you. Okay. So I was actually talking with somebody, and I was tasked to just brain dump, another awesome tool. What I thought masculine energy was and feminine energy. And in my mind, masculine energy is very task oriented. You know, the person that makes the list and you check it off and check it off, very focused, has everything planned out, needs everything in order before you move forward with it, can be controlling. So even when I look at my workouts, I look at a masculine workout, it's very hardcore. I'm lifting my weights. I'm doing, like, I'm really, really, really pushing my body. Very decisive, very, very direct. Even with their sports and stuff, they're very like sports related, like their hobbies. That's what I meant to say. Their hobbies are very sports related. And then I think of feminine is more flowy, spiritual, creative, thoughtfulness. Their hobbies are more creative, more like painting and jewelry, and they take time for self-reflection. They don't spend the day task-orientated. They see where the day's taken them. And I think I've been becoming a little bit burnt out because I'm very task-orientated. And then when I say, well, I'm just going to take the day, I sometimes don't know what to do with myself. What are your thoughts? Looking at me like
I'm trying to, it just felt very stereotypical, like the man was like task and sports and the woman was,
but I'm talking about me. But see, I'm talking me.
Right.
If you were to lean in, that top list is me.
And that's what's important in this is to understand that is what your belief system is about masculine and feminine energy. And actually that's what I think we identify or create the definition of masculine and feminine energy based on the belief systems that we have grown up with and what we have seen. We think of corporate and we think of CEOs, and we certainly a woman of my age was brought up and was in a very male-oriented career. I was in telecom. That was very male-dominated.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was, so I think a lot of that comes from where our belief systems are and what we have been told is masculine and feminine energy.
So Tracy G, you asked me for more. I do have.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking it up
I
just to
do.
see. And
It
like,
says
one of the
stable.
things that I do notice is that they're saying men logical, women
Yeah.
creative. That's interesting.
Yeah. So it has masculine, stable, more predictable, very strong willpower, very focused, structured, goes by the rules. So they have masculine is knowledge, feminine is knowing. That female intuition. Masculine energy is the gift of clarity, knows what it needs to do to achieve something, master of planning. Feminine is more flowy, dynamic, doesn't follow any rules other than what comes to her heart,
My
comes
God,
from
that's my
her
daughter.
soul, knowing who she is. Yeah, this is Meg's. Doesn't need to follow a 10-step process to get where she needs to go. Doesn't suppress her emotions, recognize that, and feelings are a valid messenger. So
So if she's not following a 10-step process, she's getting to where she's going. She just might take a lot longer though.
or
You know, it's
she
my
might
daughter
skip
has,
over.
yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think you just, there are no rules. So you don't, there's no preconceived idea of how you get there.
Okay.
That I think is what's really important in that message. There is no preconceived idea of how to get there. And this is so interesting because, I mean, Michelle, when you were reading that definition of feminine, I was like, oh my God, like this is my daughter.
That's
through
Meg's.
and through.
Yeah.
Like she embodies this. And it was really interesting because we did a podcast a while back on time management. And I am very much like, give me all the time management systems in the world. I want them all. Just bring them to me, right? Like, I love that stuff. And Megan's like, she doesn't use anything. I mean, she'll schedule her appointments with her clients and things like that on her calendar, but that's pretty much all that's on her calendar. There's none of this other stuff. And yet she gets it all done. She doesn't miss appointments. She doesn't, like, it's amazing. Whereas I literally look at her and go, how do you keep that all in your head? Like, I don't know how you do it.
Is that feminine energy, or is that Megs knows her priorities, knows what's important, what she values, and is able to dismiss the rest? So she only fills her calendars with the things that are important with her and important to her. And so she creates that balance, and it's not necessarily energetic. It's energetic because she just intuitively knows, but it's more of a priority. That she just goes, I'm not going to fill my calendar with a bunch of crap that has no bearing on the top 3 things in my life, my family, my business,
Yeah, but is it more, like you said, it's intuitive, but if you were to ask me where my priorities are, I know where my priorities are. But if you ask me to just not put things on my calendar and not have this list aspect, that takes me so far out of a comfort zone. So, but with that said, I'm having the realization that I am too comfortable in that structured energy. We'll use that word, structured energy, that when I sit down to create anything, I have these blockages because it's the structure, like I get too rigid into what I want to create. So it is more of, I want to be more of a storyteller than this is how it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And you know what? It's and to go to, I mean, that is a lot of huge self-awareness to go, I feel most comfortable in a structured energy. And we're not, I mean, that's not to imply that that's bad.
No.
I mean, it just is, right? Like, I'm more comfortable to be there, but I know that being there limits me over here when I want to be creative and I want to just flow. I'm struggling with that. And to know that, that's amazing.
But I want to make a point here. I am not only talking about my business, I'm talking about my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, I mean everything, whether it's my spiritual life, my even within my mindset. Worked very hard on my mindset, and I know I brought my mindset really forward, but I've watched myself. I've like tried to have these out of body experiences and watch what I'm doing. And it's like, okay, I'm up at 5 o'clock. Let me get my journal done. Let me do my gratitude. Okay, let's go do this. It's very, 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 very structured. And if I blow that structure, I have this guilt sometimes I've been noticing. So I'm trying to lean in that I want my day to encompass my journaling, my gratitude, my meditation. And it is okay if I do my meditation at noon out on the deck with energy music going. It does not have to be the first thing I do in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you've taken the things you enjoy doing and you've made them into the task-oriented list, which is kind of sucking the energy out of the reason you're doing them, right? Because, okay, I've done my 5 things and it's 6 o'clock. Okay. And
Now
it's like, well, but did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yes. So yesterday I practiced, I went out on my kayak, and I've been trying to get back into my kayaking because I did kayak when I was 16. I think we talked about it on a past episode. And all of a sudden, all these fears came up. And at the age of 63, I was having trouble going out kayak because what if a boat came by? What if it tipped? What if? Well, I've been going back out and kayaking, and I brought my tea and I brought my phone and put on energy, what we call energy healing, like kind of meditation music. And I just floated for a half hour.
Oh, I bet you that was amazing.
I just floated. Sometimes I paddled. Then I get in the middle and I just watch. I look at the shore. For a half hour, I sat.
That's amazing. Like,
That was
seriously amazing.
agonizing.
Yeah, I bet. That's why it's so amazing you did it.
What do you mean it was agonizing?
Because I'm a task-oriented person.
Oh, and you were just like, come on, is it 29 minutes? Let's go.
And I didn't really look at it. I would breathe. I would look. I would just like, this is your time. I would go, So
you need to do more of that then.
yes. But my question to both of you is, have you ever realized the different energies you've been in?
I mean, yes, because my daughter is so completely embodied with what was described as feminine energy. She is that through and through. And I am very much more in the structured male energy, if we want to call it that. So yes, I see the imbalances in my life as well. It's very hard for me to let things just be and flow, and I'm very plan oriented. I gotta have a plan. I gotta know what I'm doing. I'm like it's just like me. That's what I do. So yeah.
Yeah, and I would be the exact same. And I don't know, maybe it's our growing up too, that was what was taught, like everything, to-do list, task, blah, blah, blah. I never looked at it as male or female energy, but I definitely would lean on the male side. Just like I said, naturally.
It's funny. I was listening to a podcast this morning when I was running. I'm trying to get the name of this doctor, but this doctor is 102 years old, and her name is Dr. Gladys McGarry, and she just put out a book. The well-lived life, 102-year-old doctor, 6 secrets to a healthy and happiness at any age. Now, I'm not promoting the book. Disclaimer here. I haven't even read it, but one of the things that she was saying is everybody talks about manifesting and manifestation, but she's like, we take this manifestation, and she said, in all her studies, what it shows is that it's on tiers. You keep going up tiers for manifestation. And if you were to look down, there are these tiers. However, we should look at feministation. I think I'm saying it right. Because a female, when you're in that feminine energy, you can look down and see the spiral and the interaction of all that you have done and how it intertwines with each other. So she's like, you have manifestation, but you also have to have feministation to have the best and the best of both worlds. And it was very intriguing. So yeah, I think I was wondering where you, I'm not saying I'm going to forego my masculine energy, but my goal is to incorporate more of that feminine flow in just different parts of my day. So I end up with more of a balance.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
I have a funny suspicion that both of you already do it without even knowing it.
Yeah, that is probably very true. I've not pondered it the way you are pondering it, so that it's something I've been aware of, but I certainly will be now that we're talking about this. I'm also wondering if this isn't a societal thing as well. Like if you take, a completely different culture and what feminine and masculine energy would mean to them, especially if the female is more dominant in that culture. It's just really interesting. Like I'm kind of thinking here, it's like there's energy out here, right? Like the energy's out here, and based on how your belief systems have been created, the society you were brought up in, what your parents went through, what the grandparents went through, their grandparents, blah, blah, all the way down the line, how all of that has affected your interaction with this energy that just is there, that we can tap into it anytime we want.
True.
That is yeah.
Well,
I find that actually very powerful to think of it that way.
So I just thinking of like when you say masculine, so then we go into the hustle culture and stuff like that. And just even, can you take a day and not do anything and not feel guilty, right? Because, but now it seems the younger generation is seeing the difference. And I feel they're trying to achieve that balance, that energy balance, where there's hustle to get stuff done, but also to stop and smell the roses, which is kind of a female male thing going on there.
Right. Yeah. And you could, I think Tracy G, you said it perfectly. Can you take a day off and do nothing? And I mean, I don't mean do nothing, but just like take a day off and
no, but why can't you just do nothing?
Right. Like, why can't you? And that's like, I think you bring up a really good point. It's all of our past generations and what they've done and how they've had to do it and how we've been brought up. And the fact of to do nothing or to do whatever comes to your heart that day, is like, wow. But to tell you the truth, that's kind of what I did all weekend. I didn't open my computer. I went out on my kayak. I read, and it was just a regular novel. Nothing, crazy.
No self-help stuff.
No self-help. And it was, I felt I felt good. I felt more energy today. So I think the moral of the story is to take a moment and just try to understand your energy and what it's producing around you. Like, don't call it, if you don't want to call it feminine or masculine, call it whatever you want it, you know, call it structure, non-structure. It doesn't matter what you call it, but just be aware that because you've always done it doesn't mean the way you always have to do it. And I think I've been thinking a lot about this, and this could be another episode, so I'll just bring it up and then we'll decide. I think sometimes we go through life with blinders on. Even when we think we're very open to different things, we still lean past our culture, our families, everything, that we walk around with blinders on because this is the way we've always done it, or this is the way it should be done, or this is the way, just like, rules and all of that. And I'm pulling back my blinders a little bit to see what more there is for me.
I want to say two things. One with regards to the blinders, but one thing I think is, let me start off with the blinder thing first, because it's so interesting about how we just do things because that's what we've been told. I always cut the end of a cucumber off, always. And I was asked not that long ago, why do you do that? And I was like, why do I do that? My mom always did it, so I just figured that's what you do. You got to cut the end off the cucumber. You don't eat it. Like, I'd cut it off and throw it out, right? Like, so super good example on the blinders. But circling back, I just want to say how absolutely amazing it is, because we, the three of us, and anybody who is watching, is having the ability to actually watch change in progress. That transformation. No, honestly, like what you're doing right now, all of the, like, what you're embodying and how you're like going, okay, this is, I feel this pull towards energy and I need to know about it. And what, I mean, sometimes we ignore those little, hey, you got to pay attention over here. We just go, yeah, later. And, you just keep going on your same path. And it's just absolutely amazing to watch you go through all of this change and transformation in front of all of us. Like, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, thank you. I'm honored that you said that. I feel humbled. But I think in saying that, if any of our listeners or our viewers, listen to any of our episodes, they're going to see that exact same thing of change with all three of us. Tracy E., your change of going through to be able to travel and get on the planes with your anxiety. And we just did a episode with Tracy G on that pre-worry and the changes she's made and making sure she doesn't go back. So kudos to all three of us. I'm going to start crying. Adding the change and to be vulnerable to show our viewers and to show each other.
Yeah. I just want to say the one thing about the energy too is, again, and this is a consistent through all our episodes, that it's acknowledging these outer forces, whether it's internal or external, is to acknowledge and exactly that. Is this the energy I bring? And is it the energy I want to bring? And it can be, but just to acknowledge and go, is this what I want out of my life, to be this type of energy? I just think
and to that point, there are times to have that masculine energy, or whatever you want to call it, for whatever you could be doing at that point. I needed very masculine, task-orientated energy when I was closing up my house. That was very, very poignant. This room had to be done, and that. But there was time I needed to lean into feminine energy. If you go back and listen at back episodes about decluttering, because there was a lot of emotion in there.
Mm.
So that just came to me now that I was able to use both of those energies without even realizing it, you know? But yeah, that's good. And see, Tracy G, I have realizations right in having conversations just like you did in the past one. So on that note, we would love for you to give us your thoughts. Give us your thought on the episode. If you have any questions, comments, please let us know. We will definitely look at them. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share with a friend, and we'll see you every Wednesday. Until then, have a good day.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.